I once read that the word God, does anybody know what the word came from? How the word God developed? It's kind of obvious when I mention it. It came from the word good or goodness, right? So goodness be with you, right? Yes. These were old expressions that were used probably in the 1800s and I don't know, beyond, who knows? But it got shortened down to God. And God is good. And good, orderly direction, G-O-D. Unless, of course, you're American, in which perhaps gold, oil, and drugs. Little joke. So we are expressions of God, and it is us to initiate and activate the concept of good into our lives. Ernest Holmes says it's our birthright. You've all heard of Ernest Holmes? Yes. And Marianne Williamson, you've heard of her? Lovely being. Said we are to let our lights shine. Because hiding your light serves no purpose. Letting it shine encourages others to shine as well. And isn't that a more powerful thing? So, how do you order up your good on a daily basis? Do you have practices? Disciplines? Anybody? Ray?
There's 10 golden minutes.
10 golden minutes.
Make up your bed, and make up your mind, and meditate. It's only 10 minutes.
I thought you were going to make that rhyme. Make up your bed, make up your head. Right? Anybody else?
Think of all the things I'm grateful for. Even as soon as I open my eyes, even before that, in bed, and you jump out of bed feeling a whole lot different than if you don't.
A practice of gratefulness. Exactly. Exactly. Anyone else? Okay, so there's so many ways that we can order up our good. And for me, the most important thing is gratitude in the morning. Well, for me, gratitude happens in the evening when you go to bed. Thank you for this amazing day, right? And projecting that gratitude into my night's sleep, my calmness, my serenity, and allowing good energy to carry through the night. And then in the morning, I want to project my joy, my beauty, my good forward. So I don't know if you heard, it's biblical, and I believe it's the book of Isaiah. Prophesy unto these bones. Does that ring a bell? No? So when I was performing for we had a little band and we performed for the St. Augustine Church community. And then one day they brought in this musician, and she had taken this idea of prophesy into your bones. She took the scripture and wrote it into a song. And it really struck me. So the idea, the bones, in the story, he's literally telling this woman to go into a graveyard and prophesy unto the bones and give them life, that they may live again, that they may walk and talk and breathe and have another experience on the planet. Well, the metaphysical translation of that is, what would the bones be if you applied it to your own life? Anybody? So perhaps
Your own bones.
Your dreams, your visions, your desires for the future. Have you let them fall asleep and become like carcasses, like in a boneyard? Your dreams never happened, so you just, well, it's not going to happen, I give up, I'm just going to go and have a sandwich. You don't know. Okay. Prophesy into your dreams. Speak them into reality. was the whole gist of this story. And it struck me on a big way. So we can keep our dreams awake without doing anything but talking. And who do we talk to? Yourself, the inner God self, yes. Because all we are is God having a human experience, and we all find God resides here. Is that right? In the heart, right? So speak to yourself when you're sending these dreams out, knowing that the Almighty God, the greater concept of God, is tuning in. And you're activating that God through your words. I have life, I have joy, I have beauty, I have positive experiences, and let that carry forward. Now, our will is another concept that is highly misunderstood. Will is not going to get anything to happen in your life. Will is the force you use to keep yourself on track. Who's going to remind you to order up your good? It's on you, isn't it? So this is what we have to do. We place our will to remind ourselves, to do our practices, to speak our good, and we train our brain, I made it rhyme, to speak in the positive. You've heard the concept God does not understand negative thinking. God does not understand the word want. I want to be happy. God will give you more want. So we speak in the positive. I am happy. Remember those words? I am that. I am. You have a question?
I have a affirmation that goes with that, if you like it. I will, my will, which flows from divine will.
Okay. I will, my will, with my will,
Which flows from divine will.
which flows from divine will,
To be healthy.
to be healthy,
To be well.
to be well,
To be prosperous.
to be prosperous,
And spiritual.
and spiritual. And so it is.
And when you say, I will with my will to be healthy, you think of any place in your body that's not perfectly healthy and just see it getting well.
This is the power of words. When you express a word, how many memories are floating in your brain from that word or phrase, right? Memories of things you've learned, memories of things you've experienced, they all come up and they uplift and support this concept that you're expressing in your own mind or out loud. I like the spoken word because there's more vibration. So, in Science of Mind, we taught treat and move your feet, right? So you don't just say the word, you go out and live your life as if this goodness is already yours. Move your feet. Go out there and live your life. Be the change you wish to see. Y'all know that expression? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there's a thing we did a lot in our center, and it caused a little bit of fluff in the congregation. When you hear negative talk, cancel. Cancel that. That's not what I meant. Well, what happened is people started canceling other people's words. Well, it was okay for some of us. Some of us like, oh yeah, thanks, I remember that. I got it. And you know, and we locked each other in. But some people was like, shut up, I don't need to hear you, pounding on my head like that. So it's how you take it, right? And it's how you express it. So being careful, canceling other people's negative talk has to be done with kindness. But for yourself, you hear it, and how often do you not even notice that you just said something, oh, I'll never get that. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, you know what? We know all these negative expressions, right? Cancel and replace them with a positive thought. That takes your will to be willing to talk to yourself in positive ways. to shine more brightly. I shared this idea of my talk with my ex-wife, who we still love each other deeply. We're still a family. We're very connected. And I said, feel free to critique. And one thing she said to me is, think of your will as the wheel, the rudder that steers the ship. And remember that God is the wind. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So, gratitude at bedtime, positivity in the morning, and set your course. Now, we all understand that life can be cruel. And especially if you take things that way, right? A lot of stuff just happens. A lot of stuff just is. When I was a musician with a band called the Muddy River Stringers, or was it the Murky Water Stranglers? Maybe it was the Mighty Stringy Burgers. Yeah, well, we did a song called Just Is. And I thought to myself, like, I didn't share this with the band because they weren't on a spiritual path. And I hadn't met the Science of Mind community yet. But it already struck me to remember, life just is. It just happens. It's moving forward. It might not even know your name. It's not directed at you. It just is. So how strongly do you react when you get another speeding ticket, another radar ticket in the mail? You know? And how long do you let it bother you? Yeah. Those things happen. The laws were not made to make you suffer. They were made for profit. But right? But it's not just designed to take you down. I have an older brother. He always said that every law, he drove the 18-wheelers. And he had to go into different countries. He had to, the States. And he actually said, they wrote this law just to piss me off. I said, Bob, they don't even know your name. You know, like, calm down. It just is. So I was at a talk with my company. I work for Winnipeg Housing, and all of the staff came into a meeting, and they had guest speakers, and this one woman was a counselor from Clinic. You all know Clinic, doing great work in the city. And she came up with the German word, I got to say it right, Gelassenheit. Has anybody heard this word before? Any Germans in the room? Somewhat German, but that's a new word for you? That's it. I already heard the word Gute Mahlzeit, which is about that feeling you get when you sit around the table and dine with family and friends. Gute Mahlzeit. This feels great, right? Well, say it right again. Gelassenheit is tranquil submission. It's yielding to these things that come up in your life that you're not really happy about. Submit in a tranquil state. Allow that it just happened, it just is, and this too shall pass. And I accept joy.
How do you spell that word?
Yes, of course. G-A-L-A-S-S-E-N-H-E-I-T. The Germans are great for some of these great big words that have huge meanings that require a sentence or two to understand them, to explain what they mean. That's all. Gute Mahlzeit is like the biggest German word I know. I have so much fun with it. So, most every disturbance we experience can be easy to accept as normal and carry on with joy. This is a deep understanding of how to walk through life. According to that song, it's wisdom, peace, and love. Gelassenheit. So, some of us need a little time to return to joy. Some of us Overreact? Now there's that word, react. Do you react to situations that come up? Or do you stop, take a breath, and choose how you're going to respond? This pearl of wisdom changed me in a profound way. And it allowed me to stand in the craziness of life and allow it to just flow by. I find myself much more often sitting in silence in a conversation than lashing out at the bonehead who just said something stupid. Right? Yes, sir.
So, in this talk I'm giving next week, she was only working out of her right brain, and she said, when you activate that circuit in your brain, it's anger, and it comes on like that. Just wait 90 seconds. This was your point.
Yeah.
Wait 90 seconds because there's chemicals that shoot into your bloodstream.
Yes.
Keep you like, and then you let it go, and then you can deal with it.
That reminds me of Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it? It's just a bunch of chemical reactions in my body. Right? Well, it applies to more than just love. Anger too. It's just a bunch of chemical reactions. You know the flight or fight response? And you feel that well up. I remember a situation, somebody else was dating my ex-wife, and my daughter was about, 4 years old, and he's now telling me she's evil and she needs to be punished physically. And you know, as a father, him talking about, my hands want, I'm going for his throat, right? This happened in church at a rehearsal. And he wouldn't let it go. And I'm trying to help him understand. Might makes right is what you're teaching her if you punish her. That's not going to help her. It's not going to move her forward and chase your so-called evil out of her body. You know, my dad tried. We experienced that kind of lashing out anger. He could have been arrested for the behaviors he exhibited to his children. I still love him. I saw the love behind it. I also researched his life and what happened to him. I had it easy. But this whole idea is that if we use our daily practices to bring us back into center, we boost our own morale. And we boost it in increments, step by step. It's not an overnight change. It's not some sensational thing that happened and now I'm healed. How many courses have you taken? How many workshops have you been to? There was a gentleman that came to town a lot. His name was Kelly Toby. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He had a program called Star Tree Integrated Adventures. And you've all seen Dr. Phil? You know who that guy is? Yeah? Well, imagine a much more spiritual approach to what Dr. Phil was doing. I don't know what he's doing now. There's all kinds of crazy talks on. But when he first started, he was in a room full of people and somebody would have an issue and he'd talk them through it. Well, when we saw Kelly Toby workshops, he would get a focus person, have that person share a story, and you could see, we worked on his team, and you could see how many people in the room were triggered by this focus person's story. But he just let them be. That's what our job was there. If we saw someone triggered, we'd go stand behind them and just energetically support them. If they wanted a massage, we'd give them a massage. But Kelly would stay with the focus person and apply a healing concept. Always just the perfect song that opened your heart, allowed you to connect with your own feelings, and allow you to find the healing. So 30 people in the room got healed, not just one. It was so amazing to watch this happen and to be part of it, to be on the team. we boost our morale in increments. Consistently connect with God. I can connect in one breath. Now, just, and I feel this chemical change, this flow of energy in my brain that seems to, for me, it starts up here. And I feel it run down the back of my neck and enter into all my chakra system. And I feel that connection and I tingle. It's so real for me now. One breath, one power, one life, my life in unity. In unity with God, with good, orderly direction. Understand that as we are all created out of and within the stuff of God, connecting with God then is connecting with the self. If you leave yourself out of the process, it's an outer experience. I am God having a human experience. All that I am is God. I am not all that God is. God's so much more that we can't even describe, that we can't even fathom. But we know it's all there is that we need to connect to. It's the only power, the only real power in the universe. It created everything we see and know and have come to believe in out of itself. And we're in it, part of it, expressing as it. So, when this negativity enters your life, can you laugh at it? Can you laugh at, the church, you always said, the devil. Can you laugh at the devil? Can you laugh at this meanness in the world? Can you laugh at this whole COVID experience we just had? Do you realize how many people made so very much money? And how much did it change their lives? These people were already multi-rich. And so now you're multi-rich. What's different? I laugh at them. They think that made them better somehow? Did it heal them? Are their family now all in love with each other? I very much doubt it, and I find a lot of humor that they thought that was necessary. I didn't like it happening, but that they thought it was necessary. And laughter is a way to joy. So, where do bad rainbows come from? No, that's not the question. Where do bad rainbows go when they've been caught being bad? They go to prism. It's a light sentence where they get time to reflect. Took a while, but I got some laughter out of you, right? Yes. So, another big, powerful source of joy for me came when the Science of Mind community taught me the idea of what is God. And they came up with 7 words to describe God and then said, well, you only need the first 4. God is life, God is beauty, God is joy. I left out love. Life, love, beauty, and joy. Does that sum it up? You can add power, you can add light, truth, justice, harmony, but those 4 contain the rest. Life, love, beauty, and joy. So for me, I started waking up to the beauty all around me. I had already hung my favorite pictures on my walls. I had plants growing in my house. I have no idea what time it is. Am I good?
Good.
Carry on? But life is all around us. And what happens when you leave the house? Beauty is all around us. And what happens when you leave the house? We drive by so much beauty without noticing it. In fact, More commonly than noticing the beauty, we criticize what we're looking at. Who painted that house that color? Who put that rock there? Look what that guy's wearing. Are you crazy? You know, we criticize more than appreciate. So for me now, that's changed. That's shifted. Because I spent years remembering to see the beauty. I was driving in a car with a young lady who was a boyfriend of my buddy. So the three of us were in the car, and we're going out into the country. I'm taking them to the old Pinawa Dam. Has anyone been there? It's incredible. This is before it was a provincial park. It wasn't managed, and there was a lot of, stupidity going on, beer drinking craziness. But I saw it as one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And we could jump in the water. It was river water. There were places where you could slide. It was about 30, 40 feet. And then you hit the water. And you're sliding on the water going down. It's like a mossy covered rock, flat rock. And wet and about 4 inches of water pushing your feet. And you had to balance, you had to maintain, and then get to the end of it and jump in. And it would push you out the other side. There were several different places like that. We called it rambling. We would ramble the dam. So we'd run to one area and jump in and swim and navigate, and then it wasn't really swimming. It was on your back, 1 foot under your butt so you didn't bang your tailbone on the rocks below. It was all rock underneath, and it was all shallow. Well, there were deep pockets too. And your other foot was out in front of you like a rudder, and your hands at your side, controlling your movement. It was rambling, and it was great joy. And it was so much fun and so much beauty. So we're on our way there, and I was a single man, and I'm noticing all the pretty girls on the sidewalk. And she's noticing me, noticing all the pretty girls. Well, when we got to the dam, she stopped and said, I had you misjudged at first. You weren't just looking at the pretty girls. You were looking at everything and everybody. I see old people walking down the street, and I read a story into their life. It's my concept. But you see the lines. You see these wrinkles are what do people say? How do they say that? It's like the journey that you've experienced is written in the lines on your face. How often did you smile? They're different lines, right? If you've been smiling your whole life, your wrinkles are different. So there's beauty in it all. And if you pause to take time, also remember that beauty is God in expression. And remember, you're not alone. God is with you, showing you and lighting you up all the way, everywhere you go. God's shining outward. So, stop and smell the roses. See the beauty in the world. Breathe it in. And consistently prophesy into your future. All we are is God having a human experience. So speak your good into your future and live a blessed life. And so it is.